Thank you very much. Well, folks, this next one that I'm going to sing for, I've had the pleasure of singing it before the president of the United Dairies. And I've also appeared in court for singing it. And the judge said, what happened? I said I was cleaning this lady's bedroom windows, and he said, go on. And I said, this lady came in the bedroom with a pair of thingies on, so he said, go on. And I said, this fella coming with his what's-its on, so he said, go on. I said they were dashing around the bedroom that fast, they couldn't tell what was going on. He said, are you going to tell us what happened? I said, I don't know. He said, why don't you know? I said, my ladder broke. He said, your ladder broke, how did that happen? I said, well, there were 17 of us on it. Good, that, isn't it? The judge was dead mad, He said to this fella, I'm sending you down for 15 years. He said, I can't do that. He said, do what you can there. They get nasty, don't they? He said, I'm awarding your wife £5 a week. He said, I'll see if I can send her a few bob myself. And he said to this woman, why did you shoot your husband with a bow and arrow? She said, I didn't want to wake the children up. He said, we found you innocent of the car theft. He said, does that mean I can keep it there? I don't know. Well, folks, we're going to finish off with a request now, so what would you like? Alabama Bound, all right then.
I didn't come from a rich family by any means. I think we were pretty poor. The church gave us a lot of clothes when we were kids, and lots of people, neighbours, had often given me things, like when I was delivering papers. I remember one lady, I remember her giving me a pair of trousers, because I'd got holes in the knees of mine, and she'd given me this pair of check trousers, and I thought it was weak when I put them on. They were marvellous. When my father died, my oldest brother Jim looked after us, which is a good thing, because if he hadn't have done, I'd have probably been one of these tearaways, you know. He laid down the laws of what you should do and what you shouldn't do, more or less, as far as right and wrong was concerned, and I owe a lot to him. He said, you know, buy yourself a ukulele and a tutor book, so I bought this, and he said, no, you put your fingers there, and he'd say, put your fingers there, will you? And I'd have neck ache through looking down to see where my fingers were going onto the frets. And it was just through sticking at it like that the banjo ukulele came along.
Kenny always had that happy-go-lucky, cheeky way with him, you know. I think this figured right through his life. He used to joke he was an imp, you know, that type of person.
You know, you have to march into the CO's office, and the RSM goes, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, and your legs are going that fast, you know. Well, this was a highly polished floor. And when he told me to halt, you know, you have to bring one leg up and then slam your foot down. Well, when one of my legs was in the air, the other, I just slid along on the floor, and my knee at his desk, and his inkwell welt all over his papers. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry, you know.
But he was up on a garage roof, you know, and of course he only falls through it. Something always happens to him, you know. If it's going to happen to anybody, it'll happen to Ken. He tells me that one day that he knocked a telegraph pole over with one of the tanks. He lost control of the tank. And the things that he used to tell us, well, it was just like watching one of George Formby's films.
Oh, you mustn't miss your last bus home. It's a long, long way to roam. Toodaloo, toodaloo, take your places in the queue. You mustn't miss your last bus home. All together.
I know I've been on the bus sometimes, going home, and people have been on the top deck there, strumming away there, and everybody's been singing on the top deck of the bus, and the poor old driver down below with the stamping feet, he must have driven him mad, because one day the bus driver stopped the bus, and the bus sent the bus guard upstairs, and he said, just pack that up, because the driver can't concentrate. And there was a policeman sat next to me, and he said, you carry on, mate, it's all right. They can't touch you for it.
He had this accident about 7 or 8 years ago. Before that, he just used to play the uke, you know, and sing, and because he smashed his hands up, and they said he'd never play again, so he started doing comedy, and because he's been doing it full time now. We've been here about 7 years.
And after a while, I started getting back into the uke again, and getting the flexibility back in the fingers. And it was just as well that I learnt to play the uke all over again, because I'd been playing it the wrong way around, you know, before I had the accident.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Ta? Shh.
Things were very difficult at first, because he used to try and do a full-time job as well, and, you know, he'd go out and earn £1 or £2 wherever he could, talent competitions and just anything.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next artist, the last time you saw him was probably at the command performance at the London Palladium.
Well, you can always get work on the smaller circuit, you know.
Well, having done the London Palladium, there was one step higher to which he could go and achieve and become the really great comic and artist that he is. And tonight he has achieved that step, ladies and gentlemen, because he's appearing here at the Bramley Legion Club. And you can't go any higher than that, ladies and gentlemen. And here he is, ladies and gentlemen, the man we've all been waiting for, the wonderful artist, straight from the London Palladium, and the comedians. Ladies and gentlemen, he's here, Ken Goodwin. Come on, let's
Thank you very much. Settle down now. I don't... Shut your gob, you. That told him, didn't it?
Well, if he gets home very late at night, you know, of course he goes to bed and I have to be up in the morning to get the girls up. So, and then he has to dash off to the studio or make a record or whatever it is, you know. Don't see much of him.
I see her in bed, but she probably won't see me.
Of course, if it's summer season or pantomime, it's quite a while all at once. But if he's within striking distance, he comes home, you know.
What about this fella that went to the doctor's and he said, Doctor, I think I'm a bell. He said, well, go home and lie down for a couple of days, and if there's no change, give us a ring.
Well, I suppose I'd always told the odd gag, you know, but I started telling jokes when shortly after I'd had an accident on a playing field. I was standing underneath a crossbar and it fell down.
Well, Kenny, it really knocked him for 6 because they took him to Crumsall Hospital and his hand was really badly smashed up. And one period they thought he was going to lose them altogether, you know. But however, they managed to save his fingers, but his spirit really took a bash, you know.
Told I would never play a musical instrument again, string instrument, because the hands were so bad. So I started concentrating on comedy then.
This woman come to our house, she said, I'm collecting for the local swimming bath, so I give her a bucket of water.
And I've worked pubs and clubs for years, and that's where I've served my apprenticeship. My first, one of my first bookings was at a pub in Moss Side, and I auditioned, and the landlord said, yes, we'll book you, gave me £1 a night.
I first met Ken Goodwin many years back when he was a drayman delivering beer to here. At that time he was entering into our talent competitions, which he was earning possibly £1 and maybe £2 at the very most. Could get Ken at that time for about £9 for 6 nights' work.
During that time he built up as a comedian. And this really was the turning point for him by going into the hospital.
I wanted to be a professional footballer, but unfortunately it wasn't to be. Perhaps it's just as well. I'd have probably presented the management with a few more problems. I was very, very serious about football, yes. I used to run about 5 miles every night and train very, very hard. I'd go out in the fog and all kinds of weather, you know. I wanted to be a professional footballer. Played for a team called Newton Heath Lads. I did have a trial come up for Manchester City.
Don't you think we've got enough comedians at City? Ken Goodwin's a goalkeeper. Doesn't half make me laugh.
Well, I still keep fit. I've got a rowing machine now where I am. And one of those slimming wheels. And of course, I do 1 or 2 physical jerks and things, just to keep my waist down, and that's all. I don't want to build any muscles or anything. I just want to keep my tummy flat.
He was home on Christmas Eve, you know, Christmas Day and Boxing Day, and then he had to go back on the train. So my brother-in-law drove him to Crewe, and they said, oh, there'll be plenty of seats, don't worry. Anyway, when he got there wasn't a seat on the train, even standing in first class. So he finished up sitting in the luggage van on his rowing machine like this all the way to London.
Oh, come on, Ken. How long have we got to wait for you?
Oh, I'm staying with a lady in Lewisham here.
And how about that fish gag? Did you do that?
What, have you got smacked in the face by 6 cods?
Yeah.
What would it be? A cod's wallop.
Yeah, that's the one. Did you do that?
No.
No.
She's one of the windmill girls. One of the old windmill girls, you know. Nice lady. She's just like a mum, really. And she looks after me, doesn't let me forget anything. And if I did, you know, she'd be down to the theatre with it. She's that type of person. When I met her, I knocked on the door and she said, what do you want? I said, I want to stop here. She said, well, stop there and close the door. Well, the first time I worked cabaret in London was last May. It was at the Gargoyle Club. And I didn't know it was a strip club upstairs and a nightclub downstairs. Never having been into one of these places before, I walked in and I saw this projection room at the side here and these doors, and I thought it was a cinema, you know, where they showed pictures. I think there's such a lot to see in London that I would like to see. It's just finding the time. Never seen Buckingham Palace, you know, and I think I shall get round to going down to have a look at it one of these mornings, and if I stand outside long enough, I might see her at the window. Never ever seen the London Palladium before. I thought it was going to be a little place like the City of Varieties. When I walked in, it was massive. Of course, I went in the back door, you see, and it didn't look so big from there. I've done lots and lots of jobs, you know. I think the trouble is, I've been looking for the right type of employment for a long, long time, and I've tried that many jobs. Now I feel that I've found it. Many a time I've gone into agents' offices, you know, and they say, what do you do? I say, well, I sing and I play the banjo and I tell jokes and things like that, you know. And they say, yes, well, leave your address and we'll sort something out for you. And then I'd still be asking them months and months later, and they were still sorting something out that never came. You know, it's just one of those things you slog and you think, oh, I'm never going to get off the ground at all. To get on in show business, I think there's a certain amount of luck involved. Being in the right place at the right time, and of course somebody coming along that knows what they're looking for. I've been to many an audition and rhubarb each time, nothing doing. I just carried on working the clubs and more or less hoped that somebody would see me. Of course, my manager put me in these places where they knew that a certain person would be as well. Mikey was invited me along to a shop window. There were about 30 or 40 acts auditioning for the same job. So I went along and did a little bit of comedy and a couple of banjo songs and got it. My very first panto was about 3 years ago, and I was playing Simon in that. I think I had about 3 words to say in it. Like, oh, puss has fallen down the well, and that was me finished. So I never had a chance to shine at all, you know, or impress an audience. Consequently, I wasn't invited back.
He wasn't very good. He wasn't very good at all. He was a cross between George Formby and Ken Platt, and I don't think you got the best of either.
In my profession I'll work hard, but I'll never stop. I'll climb this blinking ladder till I get right to the top. Oh, Mrs. Moore lives next door. She has children by the score. When I go in, when I'm cleaning windows, dun, 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 dun,
Belinda and Mandy play the violin, and the viola and the piano. They're both doing very, very well. The oldest one plays with the Ellesmere Port Youth Orchestra and the Cheshire Youth Orchestra. And there's a possibility of getting into the National Youth Orchestra. Mandy, who's younger, of course, she hasn't had the experience that Belinda's had, but I think it's quite possible that she'll just do the same. I think that they're proud of me in their own way, but I don't think they've noticed it too much.
Better off, of course, you know. Actually, in July, my father was very ill, and it was marvellous. We were able to have a nurse night and day for him, which I suppose we couldn't have afforded before. And he bought me a car, you know, to get about, because as you can see, we live out in the country and it's hopeless shopping. And we bought Belinda a good violin, and we can afford a good teacher for her. I always felt that he had it. He used to get depressed about it at one time. You know, he'd say, well, I'm not getting anywhere. I say, when the time is right, you will.
I was talking to the wife the other day. She said, you see that fella over there, Ken? I said, yes, I was just looking at him when you said that. And she said, well, he's been out with every woman on this estate except one. I said, who's that, love? She said, I think it's the woman at the corner shop.
All Mike Hughes's acts have come through the shop windows. Anybody that's connected with entertainment comes along to these shows, and they see what they have in the market to offer, you see, for clubs or theatres or whatever it is.
And they all go on and do their little bit, and what the agents and club owners like, they book.
Ken's shop window, he was then Ken Goodwin. He developed into Ken Goodwin. At that time, he was Ken Goodwin. He wasn't George Formby and Ken Platt rolled into, you know, mixed. He was himself at that time. So he was very, very good. He pulled the place down here.
And this Irishman rang up the airport. He said, is that reception? She said, yes, it is. He said, could you tell me how long it would take me to fly to Ireland? She said, just a minute. He said, thank you very much.
A friend of mine, when we went round there one day, and she sent her daughter down for an autograph, and afterwards her mother said to her, well, what was he like? And she said, he was just like a daddy, you know, and I thought that was a lovely compliment.
It's upside down. It says, dear Ken, I am writing to say how much I enjoyed the pantomime last night, and I wonder if you could get Tony Mercer's autograph for me. I think he's very good. P.S. You was all right too. Yours sincerely, Debbie Jones, age 12. Little tinkers, aren't they?
Things didn't start happening for us on the Comedians show until the Comedians put us on the map earlier this year. For instance, Ken's summer season, his billing was at the bottom of the list. But by the end of the summer season, he was the fellow that people were coming to see.
I was supposed to follow these girls on in one scene, and I heard this music and I thought, oh, that's where I go skipping on. And Jimmy's supposed to follow me. I go on from the wings and Jimmy's supposed to come on down the middle. So I went skipping onto the middle, and where there should have been one girl on stage when I got there were three, and I thought, this is funny, there's more girls here than there usually are. And they all looked at me agog, as much as say, what are you doing here? You shouldn't be here now. So I thought, oh, what have I done? So I just turned around and skipped back off. And as I skipped back off, I saw Jimmy Clitheroe skipping down the middle. And he went, oh, and turned around and went back off. It was comical. Jimmy Clitheroe says, what was you doing, Ken?
What about these two fellas in prison and they can't get out? One said to the other, how long are you in for? And his pal said 3 days. So he said, how did you manage that? Said, they hanged me on Monday. So they took him across to that place where they do it. And they had to cross this big yard in the teeming rain. And they said to the hangman, what a rotten day to go across here. And he said, you should worry, because I've got to come back in this one. What are you laughing at? He said, have you got any last requests? He said, I'll keep your trap shut. He said, I'm not kidding now, this is your very last chance. He said, all right then, would you mind putting the rope round my waist, because I've got a boil on me neck, you know? Just putting some toilet water on me hair, and the seat fell down. I said to this fella, why is your dog wearing brown boots? He said, its black ones are being mended. We're having a good time, aren't we? I saw this fella pulling a piece of string. I talk to anybody, me, you know. I said, what are you pulling that for? He said, you want to try pushing it? We'll all have belly aching a bit, won't we? We had a dog on the end. I said, where are you checking the dog? He said, I'm going to have it put down. I said, is it mad? He said, well, it's not very pleased. And this fella came up, he said, that dog bit my mother-in-law. He said, well, don't come to me for damages. He said, I want to buy it off you. I don't know. What about that fella that died and his mate went to see him and he's stretched out there in this box and he said to the widow, he said he doesn't half look happy, you know, because he was smiling. She said, wait till he wakes up, we don't know he's dead yet. We were poor at our house as well. Were you poor at your house? Because, you know, when you don't have much money, and I remember my mum saying, our Kenny, she said, go to the butcher's and tell him he wants a sheep's head and ask him to leave the legs on. Special announcement here. If there's a gentleman by the name of Pharaoh who was last heard of 2,000 years ago, please report to the British Museum where your mum is very poorly. The rest of it's a letter from me dad. No, it's from my granny, this one. She says, dear Ken, I'm writing this letter very slow because I know you don't read very fast. It goes on to say, the overcoat you left at our house, I've sent it on to you in a big parcel, but as they wanted to charge me extra for the weight, I've cut the buttons off. P.S. They're in the pocket. I went in a chipper the other night and this fella come in, pushed right to the front. He said, give us 6 of chips before the trouble starts. He said, what trouble? He said, I've got no money. We had a tramp come to our house the other day, a tramp. They wait for me to come home, you know. He knocked on the door. I said, what do you want? He said, a piece of cake. I said, you're a cheeky tramp, aren't you? Ask him for a piece of cake. He said, it's my birthday. I said, wouldn't you like some cold rice pudding instead? He said, I would. I said, well, come back tomorrow because it's still hot, you know. We're having a good time, aren't we?
I'm too good for this place, aren't I? We keep laughing, don't we? We're having a good time, aren't we? I think it's a compliment. I think it's fabulous because, I mean, I started off my act by doing impressions of George Formby years ago. And the only reason I did impressions of him was because I liked him very much and I loved him as a character. And then I realised that I wasn't going to get anywhere being somebody else, so I started being myself. But I think it's a terrific compliment.
The thing is now, all the comedians are rushing to do impressions of Ken because everybody really is looking for somebody new, you know, because to do an impression, it's got to be somebody that everybody immediately knows, you know. That's why everybody does Jimmy Cagney and Humphrey Bogart, Tommy Cooper, everybody does it. And now as soon as Ken comes along, you see, everybody think, right, because as soon as you start into it, you get a laugh, people's faces light up, you can get a round of applause on the gags.
No, you'll never believe this because it's not true. But I have had the pleasure of singing this next one before the President of the United Dairies.
But I've mucked up a few gags. I've often told the end before the beginning, and I thought, oh, what have I done?
The judge said to this fella, he said, why did you shoot your husband with a bow and arrow? No, he said it to this woman. I've spoilt that one, haven't I? I'll tell you another one. I'll come back to that one after. It's a good job I'm versatile, I can change, isn't it? Yeah. He said to this woman, why did you shoot your husband with a bow and arrow? She said, I didn't want to wake the children up.
My wife laughs at me. She laughs at things that I leave unsaid, you know. Just an expression like, you know, if I say, now this thing will happen or that thing will happen, she'll just nod her head and say, yes, love, yes, love, yes, love. And it doesn't happen, and she knows it's not going to happen.
I'm going to tell it to you now. Are you ready?
I say, Ken, make a cup of tea or coffee or something, you know. He goes over to the cupboard and then he stands there and I shout, Ken, tea! Oh, yes, yeah. Then he says, where's the cups? So you'd think, anyone would think you didn't live here. Then he says, where's the sugar? I say, it's been in the same place for the last 6 years. So about 2 days later we get a cup of tea. I think he does it sort of in the end. I'll say, oh, never mind, I'll do it myself, you know. So they're hopeless. He's so absent-minded. I don't know how, when he goes on the stage, he remembers all those jokes and things.
Well, funny, corny gags I can remember very easily, you know, which I know would make a kiddie laugh. Those gags come very, very easily. If they make kiddies laugh, they make me laugh.
Where's that Simon?
I got away with my gags, same as Bernard Manning gets away with my gags.
Thank you very much. Settle down now. I don't want you to make a noise because I've got a headache. I was putting some toilet water on me and the seat fell down. I
don't think people have really ever laughed at my jokes entirely. I think they're laughing at the joke, but they're laughing at the character also at the same time. And if I walk out onto a stage and go, if I shrug my shoulders or say, or just blow down the mic and go, chesting, things like that, they'll still laugh without saying any jokes, you know, without pattering at all.
Didn't even let me go to the Royal Command. That was terrible. I suppose it's like in any other job, really. You know, a husband wouldn't like his wife to be watching him all day, and makes him self-conscious.
Oh, no, it didn't!
He'd got left in Cyprus once. He should have been home a day before. And he'd put his passport in his jacket. Of course, it had gone down onto the plane in the case. And, of course, when he came to go, he couldn't. So another comedian phoned me up the next day and said, Ken's still in Cyprus, you know, you can't get home.
Oh, no, it was!
Well, this is a problem, yes. Particularly with his kind of comedy, because it just relies on silly humour. I mean, as you know, he doesn't do anything blue or... which, that must be limitless, that sort of comedy. But for his, which is absolutely clean and silly and, you know, fit for anybody, it's just going to be a problem.
I've never ever done blue gags in clubs.
There are plenty of comics that go around doing that, you know, so I'd rather be me, and I think it's a little bit more original these days, being clean.
What about the little lad in the orchard pinching apples and this copper caught him? He said, I've got you. He said, I'm putting them back.
The so-called comics of the day seem to be worried about us on the comedian show using up all the material for gags. I think they should get off the backsides and work a bit harder and look for more gags like we have to do. There's millions of gags. They should go round Yorkshire and do a working men's club, do 4 spots a night, and then go back 3 months after and try and do those same gags again and see what happens. Ken, for me, he's got millions of gags, but he doesn't need gags. He can just stand there. I'll laugh my head off.
All right. Go on, I will. I think you're rotten smash. When I first met him on our very first date, you know, brought him home and we went into the lounge and he said, I'd never met anybody like this before, you know, the people I knew were all, you know, staid and that, and he said, look through this. So I looked through, I couldn't see anything. Then he was killing himself laughing, because when I took it off I had a big black ring and that was all for, so I thought, right, I'll get my own back. So I got some herbs from the shop. Well, I'd had them before, so I knew what they were like, and I put some in his tea or coffee, I can't remember what it was now. Well, the next day he thought he was dying. They give you the most excruciating pain, you know, and he said, oh, I have been ill today, and of course I was laughing then, and that was how we first met.
5'2", eyes are blue, but oh, what those 5 foot can do. Has anybody seen my girl? Turned up nose, turned down hose, never had no other mode. Anybody seen my girl? And if you run into a 5'2", covered with fur, diamond rings and all those.
Well, my wife does all secretarial work and phone calls and business transactions, because if I started doing business transactions and signing contracts, I'd probably wind up doing 10 years in the Foreign Legion. I started singing seriously over the last, well, I would say it's only over the past few months that I've really started taking it seriously. I'd never done it before, and I thought, well, if I start singing serious, people will laugh at me when I'm being serious. And I don't mind them laughing at me when I'm trying to make them laugh. But if I'm being serious, I'd feel a fool.
You put your earphones on, Ken?
Yeah.
Okay, can you face that mic?
What you say?
Can you face that mic?
I can't hear, I've got my earphones on.
Okay, rolling.
Here we go.
I just don't want to make it a comedy record because you've made such a nice job of it.
Okay, Ken, stand by. We're on the red line. All right.
When skies are cloudy and grey, they're only grey for a day. So wrap your troubles in dreams and dream your troubles away. Just remember the sunshine always follows the rain. So wrap your troubles in dreams and dream your troubles away.
Your castles may crumble, that's fate after all. Life's really funny that way. No use to grumble, smile as they fall. Weren't you king for a day? Say, until that sunshine peeps through.
When they played it back for me, I was astounded at the sound that came out of my own mouth. I thought, well, flipping heck, is that me? Because it sounds really, I was thrilled to bits with it. I know it might sound a little big-headed to say, oh, I like the sound of my voice, but I really enjoyed what was coming back. You know, when they played it back, I really enjoyed it. I thought it's lovely, this. Hey, yeah.
Not bad for a first time,
It's
right?
not bad, is it? I couldn't have done it better with the banjo.
Oh, wait.
We'll be all gone in a bit.
Wait.
I've got another 10,000, you're all right. When people say to me, what's it like to be a star? I can honestly say that I don't know, because I don't feel like a star.
It's funny, really, you know, because all the shop assistants, you know, they just look at him and they even come running out of the shops. Mostly women, you know, even from young ones and older ones, and they think it's fabulous. Oh, I think it's marvellous. I mean, it shows what good taste I've got, doesn't it?
Fred, send up some more flowers. Oh, you missed me.
Well, Ken, like the rest of us, is still working off some of the old dates that were booked prior to the Comedians show, you know, that put us on the map, at the old money, the then money. He's honouring the contract, which is the thing for us to do.
Undoubtedly, the entertainment officer here will agree with me that this is a record, absolute super record run. So much so, I think I'm going to have a world tour on this new luxury liner, you know, for 3 months. So it's worth 20,000, 30,000 just to throw it away, you know. Otherwise, I only have to pay tax on it.
I know that Ken's panto season was booked a long time before he became established as a star, and he's doing a bomb. Whether this was clever foresight on the part of the management or just damn good luck, anybody's guess.
Yeah, well, I don't know about foresight. I think it was a communication of ideas between the entertainment department here and myself, and the price we paid was reasonable. As it worked out, it was an absolute gift.
You didn't say it, did you?
Only in his job. That's the one field where he really is. He really knows what he's doing. And he doesn't forget what's in anything else. Oh, it takes me, his manager and his producer all the time to get him where he's going, you know, on time.
But I didn't realise this. I was in Mallorca at the time, and I was in my room, and a note came underneath the door saying, go to reception. So I went to reception, and they said, there's a telegram here for you. So I opened it up.
Because I knew what it was, because his manager had warned me, but he didn't want to tell Ken until it was absolutely certain.
Excuse me, someone's pinching the fish.
You were in Mallorca.
Hey?
You were in Mallorca.
Was I? Oh.
You were telling me about Mallorca.
Oh, that's right, yeah. I got this telegram, and the receptionist said, is it good news? I said, I think so. It says, congratulations. Can you keep open this date? So I thought, well, I must have got the Palladium, but I didn't know it was the Royal Show. And
she said, oh, it's the Royal Command.
I was knocked out with it.
He just came back, you know, in a daze, holding it like this. And I said, I knew all the time.
We're too good for this place, aren't I? Queen laughed at that. I talked to the Queen when I was there, you know. I shook hands with her. I just did that, you know. She said, very enjoyable. And then she said, where are you working this week? I said, I'm in Bristol. And she said, very good. And then she went. And then Princess Anne came up to me and she said, very enjoyable. And where are you working this week? I said, your mum's just asked me that.